Welcome, everyone. This is kind of a huge event for us. This is the third year or Mainnet Year 3 celebration. Welcome, welcome. We have a great line of speakers. Gonna get right into it here, kicking it off with a special address from Bram Cohen. Bram, take it away.
Hey, everybody. I've been working on the last year. I spent mostly working on gaming, and that's going to come out when it comes out. But something a little bit more top of mind right now, because it's what I've been working on the last few weeks, is we're preparing to do a hard fork to our proof of space format. This is not something that we do lightly. We do not like doing hard forks. They sort of run counter to the ethos of decentralization. But if there's something that has overwhelming general support, that's really security related, that there's a real motivation for doing, that's really for the good of the community more broadly, a hard fork can be justified, and obviously proof of space format, and in particular reducing the grindability of the whole thing is the absolute most prototypical one of those things that one might have. So we now have a lot more information than we did before about what's going on with the grinding that people are doing, which makes it so we can do much more informed decisions about how to change things. It's really, it's kind of looking like there would have been no way for us to get everything right day one on all this. Just but too much stuff. But I'm going to be, we do not have an actual proposal yet. So I have worked towards a proposal right now. I'm continuing to work towards a proposal, but these are going to be my thoughts as to where we stand today. But they're still pretty speculative. So please, nobody freak out about what I'm saying here. All right. Next slide. Okay. So good news. We are sticking with proof of space. We don't like things tending towards having time-space trade-offs where computation winds up weighing very heavily on the as a proportion of the resources that people are putting into the entire thing. We've always said that there are some potential for time-space trade-offs, but the effective compression people are getting right now is much, much greater than we anticipated, and not something we particularly like. What we want to do is shift everything over towards a new space format, which has all the proof of space benefits. It's fair to everyone. It does not have power usage everywhere. It doesn't have as much power usage anyway. And when you have less economies of scale, you get a better Nakamoto coefficient, because naturally whoever's bigger has more has better ROI on putting resources into what they're doing. So you want everything to be just completely straight, linear across the board, or as close to it as possible in terms of resources that people put into it. Also, thing I didn't mention in the slide here is this does require a replot, but for people who are being on the ball with stuff, it's going to hopefully reduce the amount of replotting that happens in the future, because there will be just less improvements to be had in compression. Oh, a technical note, by the way. I'm not sure how to phrase things exactly, because of course our standard format is already very, very compressed. It's just not utilizing any our original reference implementation had no time-space trade-offs thrown into it at all. So that is technically speaking a very, very compressed format, but it's all using information theoretic stuff and hitting a few percent off a theoretical limit there. Where it's the time-space trade-off stuff that we're concerned about. So I talk about standard format in places here to mean just no time-space trade-off compression. It's a bit of a mouthful. All right, next slide. All right, so everyone wants to know, what is the timeline for this, and freaks out about it. So I'm going to give something vaguely resembling a timeline here. This is all just a guess. So nothing is put in stone here. If it takes longer or shorter, don't freak out. I'm just telling y'all a guess because people really, really want to guess. So my guess is that when it's ready, we'll put a chip out. I am currently doing research and development on this, which is pretty interesting. The chip is going to probably be actually kind of boring. Intentionally so, nothing crazy there. That's going to go out when it's ready. Roughly 6 months from now, we're hoping to be able to declare that accepted. As in, there's general agreement. We've gotten feedback. We might have made some tweaks to it. And people are mostly pretty happy with it. I don't anticipate literally everyone will be happy with it, but strong general support. That's 6 months from now, it will be declared ready, meaning that's the time when you can upgrade your software and it will support the hard fork. About a year from now, it starts phasing in the hard fork changes. So there's two different kinds of things in the hard fork. There are things that work on old plots, and then there's the new plots themselves. So the things that still work on old plots but are changes will kick in day one of the phase in, and which will knock out some old plots possibly. We got to work this out, but there are likely to be some things that kick in immediately there, and then that there's probably a period of, I'm guessing, around 6 months of phase in where the thing happens. Over that time, the bias towards new style plots gets increasingly big. So we don't want like a sudden thing where one day net space plummets because everyone's busy replotting. So what we're going to do is have a kind of a phase in over time where new style plots gradually get more and more favored over time, in terms of how much credit you get to them, until it becomes overwhelming. And then eventually just the old style plots don't even work at all anymore. And that endpoint is roughly 18 months from now. Next slide. Clyde? Yeah. Okay, so this is going to involve new style plots are going to involve some resource changes as opposed to old style plots. And these are, again, guesswork as to what it's going to be. We need to do more benchmarking and stuff, but this is hopefully going to be about right. The time-space trade-off compression is going to be much more difficult. So it may be that if you're running spinning disk, it might not be worth doing much of any of it at all, actually. So that would be good. The minimum plot size is probably still going to be a K32. The new K32s are going to be less than 1% bigger than the old ones, or maybe 1 or 2%. The filters are probably going to be unchanged. This surprised me a bit looking into this, but we're actually looking pretty safe against straight grinding right now. If it becomes necessary to have a new filter, to have further aggressive filter reductions, that's something we'll revisit another day. We'll see where we are after this is done. This is aimed mostly at stopping the time-based trade-off aggressive compression attacks people are doing right now, not just straight working against the filter attacks. So just straight replotting involving no space and hinting and stuff. So that's so probably filters are unchanged. They're just staying where they are, which is kind of nice. Plotting is going to the big increase here. Plotting is going to require an extra roughly 30 seconds of GPU time or an hour of CPU time. What the ratio between those is, not 100% sure. Needs a lot of benchmarking. It would really be nice to be able to pull down the CPU time portion of that. But we'll see how that goes. This also you might notice, especially for the GPU, might actually be less time than it currently takes. This might not increase time all that much, or might not even really be a meaningful bottleneck on it. So not a huge increase in plotting time on GPUs potentially. Also, this is being very hand wavy about what a GPU is and what a CPU is, but sort of, CPU meaning typical desktop and GPU meaning, high-end GPU. When you're in the process of plotting, it's going to use a lot more storage ephemerally than it does right now. So you might need to do things a bit differently, doing things like off of an SSD rather than just in memory or something like that. That's pretty important for the security. So each table, as it's generating it, is going to ephemerally, during the time of generation of that table, be actually larger than the entire plot is. That's important for security reasons that we did not understand, that I did not understand when we made the proof of space spec in the first place. So that's a tweak that we're doing about the amount of metadata as it's going through. Proofs of space are going to be about 4 times as big as they were before, but we're making a format change where in blocks, they're not inlined. So they're hashed and then the hash goes in the block. So when you're validating everything, you need them. But when you're just like looking at a weight proof and just looking at block headers, you don't need to download it. So probably also fixing that for proofs of time as well. While we're at it, so the actual blocks and proofs of weight are going to be smaller than they were before, even though the proofs of space are going to be 4 times as big. So they're going to be like a kilobyte or something. When you're farming, it's going to be about 30% more seeking than is happening right now. So farming on spinning disks, still working just fine, actually. There's a lot of trickery going on here, because on the one hand, you have an attacker who in theory has some crazy ASIC blah, blah, blah thing. And then you have people running real machines where they're, trying to validate proofs of space on a CPU, and they're trying to farm on spinning disk, and they need to be able to hold off against those sorts of attacks. So that's a lot of the engineering here, is balancing all that. And then the final thing I'm guessing is proof of space validation is going to take about 2 milliseconds on a CPU. So not a huge amount of extra load if you're running a full node. That's really important. It needs to be that these changes don't make it so you can't actually keep up with the chain when you're trying to run a full node. Okay, next slide. All right, now the more technical parts of this, the consensus changes. So this is for the people who care. For most people, the stuff I said before is the important takeaways. But the consensus changes that are likely to kick in day 1, not necessarily actually. So always one of these might not be a good idea to kick in day 1. So the final table bucket and path for the quality lookup are going to be generated by hashing the plot ID and challenge instead of just looking at some bits of the challenge. That's kind of oh yeah, duh, I should have done that to begin with, kind of a thing. The other thing is, yeah, like I said before, hashes of proofs of space and time are put into block headers instead of them being completely inlined. So that one definitely goes in day 1. Actually, now that I think about it, maybe the other one should be at the end of the phase-in period instead of the beginning. But yeah, those are the changes that are not having to do with the new proof of space format. Okay, next slide. The new proof of space format, this is intentionally really kind of boring. Calculating entries in table 1 is going to be an expensive operation. This is the fundamental, security and wall that is being put in place here, so you can't just grind. So if you're trying to grind, you're going to have to be redoing the stuff. That's going to be about 30 seconds to do on a GPU for a K32. So that expensive operation is unpleasant to do over and over and over again. So that stops grinding. That's the main security thing. Also, increasing the number of tables from 7 to 9. That makes it so when you're storing hinting information For your grinding, the hints have to be much, much larger. So it kind of puts an end to a lot of that stuff, or at least makes it much, much less effective. Also, the first two tables are a quarter the size of the later ones. That's because you can do bit dropping on any table you want, but it's much more unpleasant to do on later tables than the very first one, with the first table being a quarter the size of the others. If you just start bit dropping on it, which is by far the easiest thing to do, you're getting a quarter the compression than you would be otherwise. So that does a pretty good job of really limiting that. Probably after this, the best attacks are like helmet attacking table 3. But anyway, also just a structural thing that I didn't get quite right to begin with. All tables are going to have metadata coming into them, generated to do matching and then calculate the next table. Those very much including table 1 entries. The table 1 entries, because they're table 1 and 2 entries, because they're a quarter the size tables of the others, need to be bigger. Those are going to have metadata that's about 2,000 bits per entry. And for the other tables, it's going to be about 500 bits per entry. The idea there being that the size of all that metadata put together should be larger than the entire table is. We might actually go even larger than this, like double it or something. Yeah, so those are the changes. The biggest thing that I'm unsure of right now is the details of this expensive operation for table 1. I am working on that right now. The balancing act is I really want to do something memory hard to be resistant to ASICs, and getting to something that's memory hard is difficult when you want to be able to validate very, very quickly on a CPU. Fortunately, it appears to be that the password hashing operations people are doing are being really stupid about the amount of computation that they're doing all the way through, and you can get away with a lot less than they're doing. So going to do a little bit of trickery to make that work a lot better. So that's but that's very much in the R&D phase right now. But looking good on that one. So yeah, that's it. This is kind of a although my explanation of the consequences was, I think, a little long. The actual changes here are really, really pedestrian and nothing exciting. It's taking what we have already and putting a little bit of, fairly common sense, straightforward security improvements to it in ways that aren't deep and mysterious and strange, just totally reasonable.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Bram. This has been actually much asked for over the last 2 weeks. This particular subject has been really hot, so thank you for the insights. Next up, we've got, you probably all know him as Ace Vale. He's Andreas. He is the brains and the development effort behind Mint Garden and so much more on the Chia network. So go ahead and take it away, Andreas.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for the welcome. Thanks, Bram, for the details on the new platform, since it's really something that a lot of people want to know about, and I think an important step in the development of this blockchain. But yeah, happy anniversary, everybody. It's great to see so many people in the work adventure and in the stream. It's amazing where we are after just 3 years of launching this blockchain. It's amazing to be part of it. And yeah, I wanted to use this opportunity to just walk through the different things that have happened in the NFT world of Chia over the last year. Since, I mean, it's mostly a perspective of what I'm seeing, but there are some things that have been created, have been done, and I wanted to highlight some of that. Interesting enough, 1 year ago, we didn't have offers on Mint Garden due to some regulatory hiccup, but that was cleared and clarified, and so now we have offers. And offers are, as we all know, the amazing tool of trading whatever we want on the Chia blockchain, and I think it's still one of the biggest USPs of Chia. And so we embrace that, and we embrace that not only for trading. We also embrace that for the auctions that we have introduced. and people can bid on auctions with offers without actually freezing NFTs, without locking things, without giving control out of their own hands, and still participate in auctions. And it works well. There have been over, I think, 250 auctions on Garden over the last few months, which is just because I didn't implement self-service yet. So people have to come to me to set them up. But yeah, one thing at a time. Also, I wanted to give a big shout out to XH London, which I think we will hear from a bit later too. They have organized some great events last year. One was the XH London 2023 event in I think it was in April in London, with a lot of people from the European community, giving us the opportunity to come together and learn from each other. And another learning opportunity was in autumn, where they organized a Chia Lisp workshop, where myself and Matt Howard actually gave a full day Chia Lisp workshop. And I think there's a recording now, so you can take a look. And if you have any questions, please reach out anytime. Apart from Mint Garden itself, I was tinkering with a bunch of other things. I think XH Events is one nice creation that came out last year, to look at what happens on the blockchain and how the different events that are happening actually look on the CoinSet model level. There's also the payment service around the BTC Pay server that I was contributing to. So you can now actually accept Chia in your e-commerce shop. And some people in the community are already using that, like the Chinese community offering the Tangem wallet with custom prints on the xhstore.com. And I hear there might be something coming up from Chia Network as well on that front. And yeah, the last thing I want to talk about before I talk about the future is some statistics about NFTs this year. We had over or close to 700,000 NFTs being minted since the last anniversary. And what makes me very happy is that over 60% of that is through my tool. So that is great to see, that it really helps people to create NFT on Chia. The volume is about 33,000 Chia total trading volume, which is a bit over $1 million. So I think that's quite all right. And one important aspect of Chia NFTs is that they will make sure that royalties are being paid. And there's close to 2,000 Chia that has been guaranteed through that mechanism to be paid to creators. Last thing, I'm working on bulk minting via Secure the Bag, which is a dynamic method of how to mint NFTs without requiring constant monitoring of the chain, constant spends from your wallet. And the amazing thing is that you can actually mint from offers. And that's where I come back to the offers that I mentioned before. So you can not only trade and do auctions with offers, but you can also mint NFTs with offers. And if you want to mint an offer with if you want to mint an NFT with an offer, then you can come to our booth in the workadventure and try that out. See you, everybody, and have a great next 4th year of the Chia blockchain. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Andreas. And yeah, I totally agree with your shout out. The XH London folks have just been killing it with events. So love to see more involvement there. And thank you for your involvement with them as well. All right. Next up, we have Tim over at Monkey Zoo. Tim has basically been a huge advocate for Chia for a very, very long time. Monkey Zoo has been one of the major NFT projects in the space, really active, helpful in education. So Tim, go ahead and take it away.
Hey guys, yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah, hello Chia community, welcome to the event. Yeah, it's a real honor to be stood up, virtually on this stage with all these great minds and these great people. So yeah, it really is something special. So just for the next 5 minutes, I'd just like to sort of talk about what the Monkey Zoo project is, and give some of the reasons why we're building on the Chia blockchain, and maybe go into some of the bits that we're building in the future. So what we wanted then, the Monkey Zoo project, it's not just another digital asset collection. We want it to be a pioneering venture into the future of gaming, metaverse, interoperability, and digital ownership. Our choice to build on the Chia blockchain was a deliberate choice. You know, it was a decision rooted in our core values as a vision of what digital assets really should be. So let's just go into some of the basics that a lot of you guys know, and share some of the unique the unique pieces that that Chia offer us. So firstly, security. In a digital world, security is paramount, not just for us as a company, but for the consumers of our digital assets. The Chia blockchain offers unparalleled security. It combines the robustness of Bitcoin's security model with the advanced smart contracting functionality. This ensures that our assets and the people investing in our assets are protected against vulnerabilities that simply plague other blockchains. Another cornerstone of our decision to start building on Chia was the permanent side of things. You know, the Chia NFT 1 standard allows us to offer multiple links out to your assets. It ensures our customers that if something goes wrong, they have a backup. And it also ensures us that in the future, when we've got more futuristic storage technology, that we can keep up. We can keep adding to this. We can allow our users to keep adding. And we think it's a much better option to give us this permanence on a much longer scale. Provenance then, a lot of this I talk about in a lot of spaces, but provenance is also another critical factor. With Chia, we can mint with our DIDs, our digital identification, protect our intellectual property rights, and ensure that people are purchasing genuine Monkey Zoo products. This sort of fixes provenance in a way that just hasn't been done before, and it's sort of a testament really to the core foundations that Chia have given us with the NFT 1 standard. Peer-to-peer trading, it enhances the customer experience by providing a higher level of security. It eliminates the need for the intermediaries. It gives this direct trading capability. With this coin-set model blockchain, it really is a game changer, offering both convenience and just this high level of security. It also gives the holders of our assets real ownership from the contract level. This again makes all of our NFTs truly decentralized. So what have we been doing then for the last year and a half, and what are our future plans? So during our first year and a half building on the Chia blockchain, we've created our first few Monkey Zoo characters. We've built a back-end system out to distribute our Monkey Zoo token holders to our asset holders. We've also started building and many great relationships within the Chia community, and a real solid team of people that's helped shape the Monkey Zoo project into something that's going to be a real asset to the Web3 world. So for the last year, we've been working on dynamic or hybrid NFT technology, which allows us to create digital assets that can not only be customizable as a gaming asset, but with Chia's coin-set model technology, it also decentralizes this process and allows only the people that own the assets that can make the changes to these NFTs. We're going to call this technology NFT Fusion. And what it does is it will enable our holders to fuse multiple NFTs together in a single asset. They will also be able to defuse these NFTs back to their original forms, all while keeping that original provenance. We see this again on other blockchains, this similar method where you end up burning things and re-minting things. This is a much more advanced way of doing things. So to give our customers this functionality, we are redeveloping the website with the guys at NFTR, Clyde and Greg, and a few others, to bring along the Fusion Zoo, create a level of interaction, gamification on the Monkey Zoo, inside the Monkey Zoo environment. What we want to do then, by the end of the year, we hope to have a fully interacting Fusion Zoo, full customization of the Monkey Zoo characters, and start building out the the functionality to turn your 2D characters into these 3D metaverse ready avatars. Next year, then, I know we're getting ahead of ourselves, but next year we're going to start looking at how we can integrate with the Chia data layer, with our proof of concept game to show our vision of Web3 gaming, and how we can bring this technology to Web2 gaming companies that, you know, will give them ultimately this IP protection, whilst also adding these additional revenue streams for the companies and for the gamers that are playing their games. So in conclusion, our decision to build Monkey Zoo on the Chia blockchain was driven by a shared vision of, I guess, security, sustainability, innovation. You know, with Chia's unique NFT technology, you know, they're committed to this sort of greener, more secure digital future, and it makes it an ideal platform for Monkey Zoo. As we continue to grow and evolve, we're really excited about the possibilities that lie ahead. And we're proud to be at the forefront of this digital revolution, and sort of hand in hand with what Chia is developing. A couple of big thank yous before I disappear. Massive thank you to Gordon, Clyde, Greg, Lucky 8, Draco, Ram, Logan, Drew, Sarah, Tom, and a few others that have sort of been helping us out along the way. Thanks to CNI for creating all these powerful tools that allows us to be creative in ways that we, you know, just simply couldn't do before. And a big thank you to the Chia and the Monkey Zoo communities that always come out to support us on Sundays, and you know, by sort of buying our digital assets. You know, together we are shaping the future of digital ownership. I really do believe that. Yeah, thank you very much for having me today. And yeah, I'll leave you to it. Thanks for your time.
Awesome, Tim. Thank you so much. Well, it's very fitting that we're having this next group right after Tim. They've worked closely on some of the projects there, as Tim mentioned. But we got Greg over from Nifter, and we actually do have Clyde on the call as well, although he's running AAV, so he won't be speaking today. But Greg, go ahead and take it away.
Hello, everyone. I'm Greg, and along with my co-founder, Brent, we started NFTer Pro in May of 2022. We also established Sunset Tech as a parent company, which works with clients and other institutions to build turnkey solutions using modern technologies like AI, gaming engines, spatial computing, metaverse platforms, and of course, the Chia blockchain. While we're gathered here today to celebrate Chia's 3rd anniversary at Mainnet, I'd like to take a moment to reflect on the incredible progress and innovation that has taken place within the ecosystem. Chia's commitment to solving the hard problems in blockchain has created a strong foundation for the development of disruptive, decentralized applications, and we are proud to be part of the thriving Chia community. Working closely with this community of hardcore Chia devs has taught us a lot. One of the most important lessons we've learned is that truly building decentralized solutions is a selfless act. It's clear from the growing list of open source projects available today that the Chia community embraces the cypherpunk spirit and commitment to humanity and the big picture. This spirit of sharing and our personal experiences have inspired us to build tools that give creators all of the power and rewards. Peer-to-peer global trading, which is one of Chia's most important features, is another way of saying no middle muddle men. I believe that this lack of a traditional business model scared away the dominators from building Web3 tools. It's clear some people in Web2 are preparing for the future, but it's in their best interest to delay the inevitable. Our mission is simple: to empower creators with the Web3 era by providing the tools they need to create useful digital assets and to build an evergreen future for themselves. Many people have been trained to believe that the limitations and security risks of blockchains can't be fixed. That is true for most blockchains, but Chia has found ways to innovate and disrupt the global status quo. Chia peer-to-peer offer files, clawbacks, verifiable credentials allow us to offer solutions so groundbreaking that the hardest part is convincing others that it is indeed all possible on Chia. With Chia providing the primitives, we believe that the decentralized global network of finance, assets, and information is here. It's now in the hands of us early adopters to be the first through the door. Luckily for us, Chia has been supportive through grants, social outreach, and has an effective system called Chia Improvement Proposals, or CHIP for short. Over the past few years, we've been working hard to develop solutions that harness the power and security of the Chia blockchain. Our contributions to CHIP 15 and CHIP 21 demonstrate our commitment to advancing Chia's NFT standards. CHIP 15 enhances NFT metadata, enabling rich structured data that unlocks new possibilities for discovery and interoperability. CHIP 21 introduces groundbreaking concepts of composable NFTs, allowing for the trustless combination, division, and upgrading of digital assets on-chain. So composable NFTs are essentially modular digital assets that can be mixed, matched, transformed to create unique new NFTs with their own properties and value. These standards inject foolproof capabilities into NFTs, paving the way for innovative use cases and redefining digital ownership. Additionally, we're actively integrating standards from Apple, Meta, the Metaverse Standards Forum, and leading metaverse platforms to ensure our solutions are compatible with the latest standards and technologies that will shape the future of the creatorverse. Last year, we launched the beta version of Minter, which we were awarded a Chia cultivation grant to build. It simplifies the creation and management of composable NFTs with extended metadata. We have been working hard to make exciting upgrades for Minter in 2024, and I look forward to sharing them soon. In the rapidly evolving world of AI-generated content, it's becoming increasingly difficult to distinguish the works created by humans and those produced by machines. As AI algorithms grow more sophisticated, the need for reliable provenance tracking becomes paramount. At NFT Pro, we're working closely with the Coalition for Content Provenance and Authority, the C2PA, to extend provenance tracking into Chia NFTs. This is particularly crucial in the realm of composable NFTs, where multiple creators may contribute to the evolution of a single asset. With C2PA integration, we can record the edit history of composable NFTs, providing a transparent and auditable trail of every modification made to the asset over time. This not only protects the rights and recognition of creators, but also fosters trust and accountability within the NFT ecosystem. One of the highlights of our journey so far has been our collaboration with Monkey Zoo on the Fusion project. I'd like to extend a heartfelt thank you to Tim, the owner of Monkey Zoo, for his partnership and vision, as well as the talented team behind Fusion Zoo, Lucky 8, Garrix, and Brent, for their hard work and dedication. It's been a real pleasure working with them and learning from them. Fusion Zoo showcases the potential for composable NFTs and really highlights the importance of collaboration and community within the Chia ecosystem. We're excited to continue exploring possibilities and pushing the boundaries of what's possible with Chia and NFTs. We believe that the strength of the Chia ecosystem lies in its community, the developers, creators, collectors, and enthusiasts who share a passion for decentralization and innovation. I want to take a moment to acknowledge the visionaries behind Chia, Bram Cohen and Gene Hoffman. Bram Cohen's BitTorrent, released in 2001, revolutionized content sharing on the internet. The peer-to-peer file sharing protocol improved download speeds and reduced reliance on centralized servers by splitting files into smaller pieces for simultaneous sharing. BitTorrent has shaped the modern internet, accounting for a significant portion of global traffic, and has fostered growth in open source and decentralized communities. Gene Hoffman, an entrepreneur and technology advocate, founded the Internet Anonymous Remailer in the early 1990s, providing secure and anonymous internet communication. As a director of Internet Mail Consortium, he developed open standards for email. In 1997, Hoffman successfully lobbied the US government to lift export restrictions on cryptographic software, paving the way for widespread adoption of strong encryption technologies essential for secure digital communications and transactions. Their combined vision and leadership have positioned Chia as a leading blockchain platform for the development of secure, sustainable, and scalable decentralized applications. Once again, I'd like to congratulate the entire Chia team on the significant milestone. Your hard work, dedication, and vision have laid the groundwork for a more secure, sustainable, and innovative world. We're honored to be part of this community. We look forward to working together to create a brighter future for creators and users alike. Thank you, and happy 3rd anniversary, Chia. Hashtag Chia fixed it.
Thanks, Greg. That was awesome. And thank you for all the work you guys have done on chips over the last year. It's been awesome seeing your guys' involvement and just all the contributions from your team. So thank you so much. All right. Next up, we've got Hema from the Chia in China team. Hema, take it away. We might be having a slight technical issue here, so give us just 1 second. All right. Looks like we're having a slight issue with the audio, so I am going to move it on. Next, we have Justin. Justin has worked basically VP of Development, Operations, and Security here at CNI. Been doing work on the Chia blockchain for a very long time. A lot of the things that make Chia and CNI possible have come from his brain. So, Justin, go ahead and yeah, you're up.
Hi, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are in the world. I'm not going to, usually you get super technical talks from me. I'm actually going to go the other way and just have a couple thoughts I want to share with you guys, and then we'll go on to the big man. So 3 years ago today, something audacious happened. We launched the Chia blockchain mainnet, a project fueled by a revolutionary consensus proof of space and time. It was a bold step, a leap into the unknown, and a testament to the belief there's a better way to secure a blockchain. When I was first learning about Chia, the thing that immediately stuck with me was that they were using a thing that I'd never heard of before called a Time Lord. All of my questions in that first conversation with Gene were either, how do you make a cryptographically proven time chain, which is easier than it sounds, and easier than it sounded in that conversation as a complete noob in the ecosystem, or whether I was really smart enough to work alongside this team. And as it turns out, I was. And so like many of you, I took the leap going all in on Chia. And as an early adopter of Bitcoin, this project offered me the opportunity to work on something I've always been passionate about, which is controlling your own financial destiny. There were, of course, doubters, some questions in the viability of proof of space and time. Others scoffed at the idea of a greener, more sustainable alternative to proof of work. To those people, it seems wasting energy is a feature and not a bug. However, we persevered. We believed in the potential, in the power of this technology, and even in the face of concerns like compressed plotting and plot grinding, and as Bram's presentation just showed, our team remains committed to the idea of a greener, more sustainable, more decentralized blockchain. It takes heart to stick with something new, something different. It takes heart to weather the inevitable storms, the moments of doubt, and the changes that arise when forging a new path. And the heart of this project isn't just this core team that I'm a part of, but every single one of you, the Chia community, the people who I joke with, argue with sometimes, and work with every day. It's your unwavering support, your tireless curiosity, your willingness to experiment and contribute. Those are what have kept us going and given us the drive to fight through some of the really dark, long nights here in these last 3 years. It's a shared passion and a collective belief in the future that has been the engine in driving us forward. I believe that we are still, even now, one of the world's most active open source projects on GitHub. I know that personally, for me, the last 18 months of community development have impressed me more than words can say. The things you guys create and come up with are incredible. Consider this a special shout out to the people in the community who take their time to build new tools, build new businesses, and contribute ideas and their thoughts with us. Without you, none of this is possible. And most importantly, I want to empathize my gratitude. We are deeply grateful for each and every one of you, for the developers building, the farmers securing, for the users who see the potential and are embracing this new technology. You guys are the backbone of this and the reason that we keep pushing boundaries and striving for innovation. It's been a remarkable journey these last 3 years, filled with challenges, but that's just the beginning. We have so much more to accomplish together, and here's the audacity that brought us here, the heart that keeps us going, and the incredible community that makes it all possible. And with ASIC Time Wars being released into the wild soon, I'm very excited for what year 4 can bring to us. So thank you all again, and let's raise a glass or a mug if it's the morning to many more years of innovation and success. Thank you guys, and I really appreciate everything you do.
Thanks, Justin. And I just absolutely want to echo a lot of your gratitude there. It's been fantastic seeing just how this community has come together. It's truly one of a kind. So, all right, let's see. Hema, is your audio fixed? Sounds like we're probably still having the technical issues. So without further ado, going to move on to Gene Hoffman, CEO of CNI. Gene, take it away.
Well, thank you very much. And, I'll just want to start with how impressed I am with everyone who's involved in this endeavor. This is more than just a company. It is a project that scans the globe that really has a chance to change in many ways how the world works. So on our third anniversary, I want to back way up. Recently, Slowest Time Lord posted a really interesting post to his blog that was basically about Bram kind of initially approaching Bitcoin. And I think one of the most important things about what this endeavor is about really looking to solve real problems. A lot of folks are skeptics of blockchains or think this technology is just scams and Sam Bankman-Fried's. And frankly, they have a lot to go on when they make that criticism. But when Bram approached Bitcoin, it was with an open mind. It was with, yes, there are a lot of things that don't work right, that suck. Let's think about what we could do to solve those. And let's go do the hard work, the unglamorous work, the real research and development, the deep math, like literally invent new math here in a couple different places. And we did that. And not only did we do that, we ended up shipping the most decentralized public blockchain ever. We peaked around 400,000 or 500,000 full nodes with, about 90,000 these days, but I actually expect that number to go the other direction over time as well. It is a marvel. We had one single slowdown ever, and the funniest part is that it was a known Bitcoin bug that we thought we had specifically looked at. Since then, for the last, 2 years, we've 100% uptime, almost 30 months of 100% uptime. And hundreds of thousands of farmers around the world, people farming through space over SpaceX and Starlink. Once in a while, the farmers turn on in Murdo Station in Antarctica. There really isn't a network that has the kind of reach and depth that we have. And then there is the true peer-to-peer ethos. This is about taking all of the middlemen out. It is about trusting less institutions, less people. My team here has challenged me to write a blog post that is, why does trustlessness matter? And I struggle because it, to me, is so obvious why trusting less people is extremely valuable. But it's important because a lot of people take a lot of things for granted in this world. When you buy a cup of coffee with a debit card, you are trusting upwards of 5 different institutions simply to do that transaction. We forget what we accept is complexity and assume that that's just how the world has to work. It doesn't. There really shouldn't be a distinction between eBay and the New York Stock Exchange. There shouldn't be a distinction between buying a car and buying Tesla stock. It should be all the same commerce. It should be all the same trust. And when we do that, in the West, we're very lucky. The dollar, yen, pound sterling, eurozone, those things kind of work. We know how to buy and sell things. We know what to do if someone tries to cheat us. We know generally how to deal with scammers. But outside of that, that's a luxury other places don't have. Now, a lot of people, I think, have talked about smart contracting as solving everybody's problems, and that's not the case. Smart contracts, though, can solve the last mile of the rule of law. You really can make it that once you have an agreement between two parties, that neither party can cheat. You all of a sudden have the ability to do things with like escrow agents, where the escrow agent can't steal the money. They can only choose which party wins or to what extent which party wins. Being able to give that level of trust to a globe that doesn't care what skin color you are, what locale you're from, what your religion is, what your politics are, when finance is truly divorced from all of those things, the world is going to be a better place and a more efficient place. I mean, some of this is strictly the profit motive of when you take a bunch of trusted parties out, there are less middlemen hands to feed. All of a sudden now you're paying for inclusion in the blockchain and doing a deal directly with the parties that you want to deal with. So, coming down a little more technically, tactically, I guess I would say, CNI has 3 really big goals for this year. One is to get our first non-carbon use case in production. And I want to pause with that. that'll be our second in production serious use case. There are not a lot of blockchains, maybe any, who truly have in production third party using other people's money in a trusted manner to solve real problems from the real world. There are a lot of casinos and LARPs. There are certainly real things like art trading. That's a really wild and new concept that can be a single market. And we're excited about continuing to make that a single market. But we think it's critical to be able to articulate one additional serious use case beyond just the carbon markets, which we also think are going to be big. And that leads me to the second point, which is that we want to expand carbon trading on the Chia blockchain. We are confident that this calendar year, before we're over, you'll be able to buy and retire carbon 24/7, 365 in the one market that Chia Offer Files creates. Dexy, Splash, all the other sources, a maybe even carbon specific view to those entire flows of offer files. We think that's going to be a game changer for the carbon business and for the Chia blockchain. We also painfully are aware that our on-ramps and off-ramps must get better, and we're really excited about the work that Yak and many other people on this event are doing to validate our new bridge from an Ethereum-style blockchain. We're excited about bringing things like wrapped USDC and ultimately things like wrapped USDT as well, so that the pairs that are available in this one market can have any kind of stable coin to settle in. And it's important as we talk about that one market is that we want to really move to a world where you don't just price your asset in one offer. You, in fact, probably have like 5 offers for any asset. The USDC offer, the USDT offer, the BYC offer, and the XCH offer as well. So we want that to be the de facto so that you're spreading liquidity, that you're not worried about which pool the buyer comes from, and just any buyer that happens to have whatever asset they want can easily compose the transaction they want with the willing seller. And finally, it's more in the background thing, but it's important. We are completing and moving that path to being IPO ready. With the things we can control look very good, and we continue to move forward. We're excited about that. We are, one eye on the market. Rumors are that the Reddit IPO is oversubscribed, and that is a good thing. I never thought we could be the first ones through, but if both coin markets and the IPO market, and those two are very different, but they are related, continue to be strong, we're excited about our potentials there moving forward. Now, again, the things that have me most excited right now are offers and custody. It's hard to imagine that we've had a bunch of blockchain projects that have come before, and they've attempted to get enterprise and government use cases and real people doing real things with other people's money, yet didn't really address seriously custody. 24 words is not something you look at a normal person at a normal business who's just a controller but needs to move millions of dollars a day, and they're going to be comfortable with. That's just scary. And then most of blockchains have kind of focused on the individual consumer view of how you would use this stuff. The moment you get any sort of institution together, and we see this with some of the problems with DAOs, there are just these basic concepts like no one person should be able to spend more than X amount of the company's money. No one person should be able to generate carbon offsets from the registrar. So being able to make it so that companies and DAOs and others can just really easily set up rules that say, hey, as long as 2 of these 3 people agree, then we can go forward, and it creates a record, and we can change that when somebody leaves the company easily. That stuff has to be right. And we're really excited about what we're going to deliver here in the first half of this calendar year around cloud/enterprise wallet, around iOS signer and vaults. We're going to make this as easy and as secure as the kind of high security choices in Gmail. It's got to be that easy. And in fact, we expect things like iOS, Android, Ledger, and YubiKeys to be the kind of elements that you can use to build a human manageable way to recover, a organization manageable way to replace an employee when they churn, a easier way to not really trust an institution, but have an institution there if you die and if your spouse needs to recover your assets. There's a path that is both secure and reliable. So we think these things are massive table stakes to unlock blockchains to become not just the kind of 20% of America that uses it, but the 90% of the rest that will use it too. And I cannot underline enough that we are really the only blockchain project with governments and enterprises doing strategic real money things in production today. North of 80% of all carbon offsets that are voluntary around the world are documented in the CAD trust using data layer on the Chia blockchain. And that will lead to a robust on-chain carbon offset trading process. These are huge changes in those markets. And those sorts of huge changes, when you have other people's money at risk, they don't happen on degen crypto speed. They happen on, if they happen in 3 or 4 quarters, it's fast. So I ask everyone to persevere that building real things takes time, but we also have the evidence that we can deliver those real things. And each one of those real things that we deliver in production makes that conversation with the next that much easier. And so we're excited about that speeding up as we go out and bring in new customers, new partners that are doing important things that are strategic to them. And I'm proud of our community. Of late, there were attempts to censor in a way that I think is exactly the opposite of the ethos of what we're trying to do. I joke that we are cypherpunks and sport coats, but we remain cypherpunks. The idea here is that this is a permissionless system. It has a community that will reject what I would consider to be bad mind viruses. And I want it to work the way we do, to be very real, to be very direct, because we're talking about money. And we're talking about the global effect of how money works. And we're talking about making governments behave around money. When that's the case, we ourselves need to look to the things that 18th century thinkers were really thinking about how permissionlessness and speech and technological advancement shouldn't be a question that a majority of voters can say no to even. But even still, at least asking for it to be a majority is better than the tyranny of saying you can't think that, you can't do that, you can't commerce like that. And that gets me to the why. The thing that's critically important, the thing that's most frustrating in many ways, is that if and when, and it's only when, the question is timing on the if, we get the power of offer files, the power of self-custody, these tools into the rest of the 4 billion people around the world, we're talking about a level of personal freedom that we haven't had before. No longer, if you're a trucker in Canada and disagree with the policies, do you lose your checking account? If you're a sex worker in the United States, you lose your bank. If you are someone who sells guns, you can't access the credit card network. These financial infrastructure aren't supposed to be weaponized by politics. There's always somebody who has politics you don't like that will get weaponized against until your politics get weaponized against. Blockchains, cryptocurrency has the power to change that so that you don't have to try to get your money out of Beirut or out of Venezuela or out of Argentina. These are painful things for people to go through. And I think that the protection of wealth, the ability for you to totally and fully have agency over your wealth and your income, is one of the pillars of civil rights. And when you have that, you can speak, you can create technology, you can live your life, and you can move forward. And I think that we have the opportunity to take this entire project of creating real financial infrastructure in a truly peer-to-peer and decentralized way and make it as common as credit cards are today, maybe more common than that, and change the entire way the world works. We need to bring back the ability to use cash in an anonymous way, ultimately, and have it work exactly like cash does today, where, yes, when you pull out of the ATM, people know you made an ATM transaction. But what you did between that and the time you deposit again should be yours and yours alone. We need these capabilities. We need the internet native payment capability as well. I think it's going to change how the internet itself works. When you can charge a little bit, all of a sudden spam and abuse becomes a totally different scenario. And we have not had that. We've had an internet that had to make bad sacrifices because credit cards were hard and don't really fit the internet. We have the social media that created. We are the unfortunately, the product and not the customer at Facebook, at Twitter, at other places. And the global adoption of cryptocurrencies and blockchains give us the ability to change that, to go back to actually paying for content because it's cash and it can work, to creating better communities using these tools. Things like data layer, things like being able to do micropayments on a layer 2 ultimately. These are game changers for both speech and commerce. And I'm very proud of the community that is built up around these ideas, the technical acumen, the brilliance of the people inside CNI and outside. And, the inside versus outside CNI thing, I think, is often way too different. Ultimately, we want the CNI entity to be able to make it so that everybody can go out and develop and create and doesn't have to be begware. Right now, the markets have been bad. They're getting better. I think there are things we can continue to do to support more, but I also love seeing what's happening between developers supporting each other, the community supporting them. We are still supporting people in the background. I will say I've not been very happy with how our grant program ran in the past, but I think we're starting to come together on things that we can do in the future. And no matter what, for those people who are the entrepreneurs, the technical achievers who are going out and making things happen, we're going to be there to support you. So it's been a wild 3 years. We had one of the worst cryptocurrency downturns and even macroeconomic environments I've ever seen, but it's getting much better. And we've built a tremendous amount of technology and tools and community and trust during that entire period so that we can now move forward faster and go to places that we've always known this can go, but go to them now. Go in a way that frees more people, that gives people more opportunities, more options, makes things more efficient, and ultimately creates more liberty. So thank you, everybody. I am humbled to be y'all's servant, frankly. So thank you very much and happy anniversary, everybody.
Awesome. Thank you, Gene. All right. Before we close things out here for the festivities, we wanted to take a moment to recognize a few people in the community who have just had a tremendous impact. So, without further ado, for excellence in project innovation, Acevale, Monkey Zoo, Yak, you all will be receiving a merit badge. And for excellence in leadership and service to the Chia community, we have This Week in Chia, that's Steve. We have the Slowest Time Lord. We have the XCH London team and BW Free. You will all be receiving merit badges for that as well. Thank you so much for everything you guys have done for the community. This really wouldn't be what it is without you all and all of your participation. The last thing, the main rooms are going to stay open for about another hour, so you can all go meet other projects, socialize, ask questions, meet the folks who were speaking up here, go hang out, and yeah, thank you all for coming, and have a great year 4.